Conditional statements are what we're going to talk about today. So a conditional statement is just that. It's a statement that has conditions. So let me move this. And it says it has two parts. So there's a hypothesis and a conclusion. So if you have the first part of the sentence, the hypothesis, which is often referred to as P, then the conclusion is what comes next. It's referred to as Q. And it's usually written in the if-then format. So for example, if we turn off the water in the shower, then the water will stop pouring. That's an example of conditional. If, then. Here's another one. If you get good grades, then you will get into a good college. So because of the hypothesis, the conclusion happens. Okay, visually, it's referred to this way, and you read it, if P, then Q. That's a conditional. I'm going to move my picture out of the way. And here it says, rearrange the tiles to create conditional statements. So you're going to be given a sentence or a statement, and you are going to rewrite it, actually drag and drop, but you're going to rewrite it as a conditional with if then. So I know I'm going to have the if at the beginning. I know the then is going to be somewhere in the middle. If something, then something else. So I need to figure out in this sentence, what is the hypothesis? What goes here? So to do that, it says a triangle with all sides congruent is equilateral. So a triangle that's congruent, if that's true, then it's equilateral. So try to think of what does have to happen to make the next thing happen. So if I have a triangle that's congruent, so I'm going to drag in if triangle. I'm going to move these a little bit and do this is congruent, then it's equilateral. So if I read the sentence, if triangle all sides congruent, then equilateral, it doesn't make sense. So you're going to have to add more words to make the sentence make sense. To make the sentence make sense, you will need to add some words. So you can just get a text box. So I could say if a triangle, and I can change the font. You can copy and use the exact text boxes that are right here. If a triangle, and you think, okay, what else do I have? Has all sides congruent, so I'm just going to copy this. And I'm not grading, or your teacher isn't grading how pretty this looks. You just need to know how to make it. So if a triangle has all sides congruent, then it is equilateral. Or you could say, then it is an equilateral triangle. Okay, that is a good conditional statement. So when you write this out by hand, of course, paper and pencil might be a little bit easier, but the computer interactive slides just allow you to get a little bit less writing, a little bit more involvement in the slide. So that's an example. Now, it does not have to be written exactly like this. If a triangle has all sides congruent, then it is equilateral. That is one written as a conditional, and it uses the sentence structure from the original sentence, and it creates a conditional. So you would do this one by yourself. And then we're going to break down how conditionals are rearranged, and they are converse, inverse, and contrapositive. So if you look, if P, then Q. We're going to talk about each of these, converse, inverse, contrapositive, and notice the order is changed around in some of them. And then it has this weird squiggly line. That means not. So a negation, so not P, then not Q. Let's break them down and talk about each one. So first, converse. So if I was live in class, I would have someone wearing Converse shoes stand in front of the classroom, and I would say, if I do my chores, then I can hang out with friends. So there, think of visualized shoes. And if you switch those Converse or those shoes, you would say, if I can hang out with friends, then I can do my chores. Then I will do my chores. So it's just taking the hypothesis and the conclusion and switching order. That's all the converse is. So visualize shoes and just switching the feet. So if I do my chores, then I hang out with friends. Switch. If I hang out with friends, then I do my chores. So here's these examples, and visually here are those examples. Okay, inverse. Inverse is taking it and negating both the hypothesis and conclusion. So you still take the original, the conditional. If I do my chores, then I can hang out with friends. But now you're going to make it like not true, not or can't or won't. You're negating. So if I don't do my chores, then I can't hang out with friends. That's the inverse. Okay, contrapositive. Contrapositive, so it's like negating and switching. So it's kind of taking the inverse and the converse together and making it the contrapositive. So if I do my chores is now over here at the end, the conclusion. I can hang out with friends is now here at the hypothesis. So if I do my chores, I hang out with friends is the conditional. The contrapositive is if I can't hang out with friends, then I won't do my chores. Okay, that's the contrapositive. It's taking the inverse and the converse and putting them together. Okay, biconditionals. This is kind of a strange one. It is both the hypothesis and conclusion interact with each other. So if one happens, then the other. If this one happens, then this. If this one happens, then that. So they go together, like either way, they're back and forth. So the original, if I do my chores, then I can go outside with friends, go out with friends. The biconditional, I will do my chores if and only if I can hang out with friends. So the only way we're getting chores done is if you go out with friends. The only way you're going out with friends is if you do your chores. So it's both ways. It has to work both ways, from the hypothesis to conclusion and from the conclusion to the hypothesis. And there's the symbol. Notice it's a double arrow. It's arrowheads on both sides. And you read it P, if and only if, Q. All right, it's your turn. So you're going to take these and you're going to match. We need to put the statements over here and the terms over here. So I usually start with converse because to me, visually, I can just switch the order. So here's the conditional. If I study, then I will get good grades. So you look down here and try to find one that is the converse, switched order of the hypothesis and the conclusion. Once you see it, then you find it and you would drag it over here. Notice I'm not showing you. And then you could do the inverse and then the biconditional. You don't have to do them in any specific order, but the term and the statement should be across from each other and match. Okay. I have a couple of those for you. So you would do another one here. If I turn 18, then I will vote. Okay, and one more. This one I left a little bit more difficult. You do the matching. And then there's one term that isn't said at all. So if I eat ice cream, then I am happy. That's for me anyway. So you're going to have biconditional, converse, and inverse. One of these doesn't have a sentence. So you are actually going to have to write it right here. And you can delete this other stuff and just write it in. And then you rearrange. So do just like the matching, but short answer. All right, let's move on. So short answer with matching. Here's another one. This is just short answer. So progressively through the slides, they're getting more and more difficult, which I'm hoping you can do. So conditional, if I practice daily, then I will be the best. Now, in this case, it doesn't necessarily mean that you actually will be the best. You just have to take the conditional and rearrange them. So here you need to type in the converse, the inverse, and the biconditional to this one conditional. And if you can do all these slides, you are good to go and you fully understand conditionals.